Okay, let's dive in. Food, we interact with it every single day. It's fundamental, right?
Also, it's central to life.
But have you ever really stopped to think how much, how deeply what you eat connects you to history, to culture, even to who you are?
It really does go far deeper than just,
Yeah.
sustenance. Our sources for this deep dive, they show food as this incredibly powerful gateway.
A gateway.
Yeah, woven right into the fabric of society
Yeah.
and our own sense of self.
And that's exactly what we want to explore today. We've pulled together insights from a few different places. There's a chef reflecting on World Food Day, excerpts from a university discussion, and insights from a culinary travel expert, too.
A good mix. And the goal here of our mission is really to pull out the key nuggets from all these perspectives.
Right, to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding this really complex, multifaceted relationship, food, culture, identity, all of it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So if we start with food and culture, one of the big ideas is that cuisines aren't just like lists of ingredients and steps.
Yeah.
They're living expressions of identity. They are traditions passed down generation to generation, carrying stories, meaning.
And it's so dynamic. I mean, think about migration. When people move somewhere new,
Yeah,
cooking their traditional food becomes this vital act. It's a way to keep their culture alive, isn't it? To stay connected to home, even when they're far away.
absolutely. And the little details matter so much. The specific flavors people prefer, the unique ways they prepare
It's
things.
not random.
Not at all. They're like markers, signals tied to a specific region or a people's history. A chef can really tap into that, those subconscious links, those comfort flavors that just feel like home.
Right. That creates a really powerful connection for the people eating,
Definitely.
which makes total sense why traditional food is always such a big part of tourism. If you want to understand a place,
Eat its fill.
exactly, culture, its traditions, ways of life, it's all right there on the plate, so vividly expressed.
And you see this evolving all the time, too. Migration, like you said, it's a huge driver for fusion foods.
Right, where different styles mix.
Yeah, these dishes integrate elements, create something new. But it's not about erasing the original culture. It's more like building on it, acknowledging the roots.
It really speaks to the incredible diversity of food globally, doesn't it?
Hmm.
That variety isn't just accidental. The sources suggest it actually evolved as societies tried to balance themselves with, the resources available locally.
And studying that gives you a much deeper understanding of how people and their environments have been linked for ages. It's fascinating.
Now, if we step back in time a bit, the sources bring up some really powerful historical shifts, how food practices changed entire cultures.
Yeah, they specifically mentioned big changes after the Renaissance in both India and Europe.
So the Renaissance wasn't just art and thinking, it was literally changing what was for dinner.
Kind of, yeah. Innovation coming out of Italy, for example, didn't just bring new ingredients like wheat, barley, sesamum to India.
It was more than just ingredients.
It was new agricultural knowledge, too. That fundamentally altered how food was grown and consumed.
Wow. And then there's ancient India. The food patterns there weren't static either, right? They directly reflected how society was changing.
Exactly. Early nomadic groups, they ate what they could find: fruits, wild berries, meat, fish, simple survival.
But then people settled down.
Right. Around fertile river valleys, farming starts. And that leads to cultivating staples like rice, lentils, vegetables, establishing dietary patterns that, in some ways still exist today.
So these big historical periods, ancient India developing, the European Renaissance, they're not just dates in a book. They show how deeply culture and society are embedded in food.
History you can taste, basically.
Ah, yeah, edible
Yeah.
history. Okay, so let's fast forward to now. Modern food culture. The sources suggest things are shifting quite a bit, almost like traditional rituals are eroding.
Yeah, that's a word they use. Meal preparation is changing dramatically.
It does feel like that classic image, the whole family sitting down for 3 square meals. It's maybe less common now for a lot of people.
Seems that way. People eating alone more often.
Yeah.
And get this, snacks, they're almost equal to main meals now. One source said 49% snack opportunities versus 51% meals.
Wow, 49%. That's a massive shift in just how we fuel ourselves day to day.
Huge. And consumer demands are pushing change too. What does quality mean today?
Right. It seems to be about freshness, food feeling real, less processed.
Exactly. And transparency. People want to know what's in their food, the story behind it, where it came from. Simplicity, minimal processing. That's what's sought after.
That's forcing the industry to change, isn't it?
It has to. And then there's digitalization. We can't ignore that.
Our phones, you mean?
Yeah. Smartphones have completely rewired our relationship with food. Ordering instantly, booking tables, reading reviews, even just deciding based on a good picture.
It's true, and there are generational differences too, apparently.
hmm Millennials, for instance, the sources suggest they're more focused on health, community, social issues, humane treatment of animals,
Mm.
more so than older generations, perhaps.
Interesting. And the whole dining out scene is changing too.
Yeah, you see more places focusing on breakfast or small bites, big demand for food without additives, preservatives, that sort of organic casual trend.
And all day snacking outside the home too.
Right. Which brings up this key tension, tradition versus convenience.
Ah, yeah. Convenience is king in our fast lives.
Often, yeah. But the sources point out that sometimes the subtle meanings behind small cultural things can get lost. Like that example, Asian family meals, using chopsticks naturally slows you down.
Right, gives more time for connection.
Exactly. But that function can fade if those traditional family meals happen less often because convenience takes over.
Hmm. Okay, so moving beyond just taste and eating patterns, food is also deeply connected to other things, right? Language, memory, connection itself.
Oh, absolutely. One really fascinating point from the sources. Early human societies. They're partly developed because they needed to feed themselves.
Makes sense.
And language itself was like a survival tool, tied to finding resources, coordinating how to gather and share food.
And you can still see that ancient link in our language today.
Totally. Our languages are, as one source put it, riddled with phrases and idioms linked to food, often reflecting local cuisine, and we don't even notice.
Any examples?
Well, there's that Hindi idiom, "Hotha chana baje gana," literally, an empty gram rattles loudly.
Okay.
But it means someone who talks a lot might not know much, while a truly knowledgeable person is humble. See, food imagery, baked right into wisdom.
That's brilliant. It shows how food just permeates life.
Exactly. And the senses beyond taste are so key, too. Smells, visuals, they can just zap you back in time, right? Triggering childhood memories, favorite foods.
Yeah, definitely.
For someone living far from home, a particular smell can be such a powerful reminder of traditions. It can really feel like coming home, even just for a moment.
And chefs know this. They use it, don't they?
It's a tactic, a practical way to make people feel welcome, comfortable, homely. Like that classic real estate trick, baking cookies before showing a house.
Ah, yeah. It works because that smell hits those deep comfort associations.
Precisely. And at its heart, sharing a meal is this incredible universal thing. It connects people across borders, languages, cultures, creates shared experiences, lasting memories. It bonds us.
Okay, let's go even deeper, because it's not just personal connection, is it? Food is also a medium for social and cultural exchange, and the sources show it's tied up with gender and power in some really striking ways.
Yeah, definitely. Often, trying a new cuisine is the first way we encounter a different culture.
Your first point of contact.
Right. It can open doors, help you learn about history, traditions, maybe even glimpse social structures.
But there's a but here, isn't there? One source added a note of caution.
Yes. While exploring food is enriching, just eating someone else's food can sometimes be, well, a bit superficial.
Yes.
It can drift towards seeking out authentic or exotic things, mainly for entertainment. The suggestion is we should be kind of humble about how much deep cultural understanding we get just from that act alone.
That's a really important point. And what about diversity within cultures?
Also huge. Food shows that too. Different ways people make the same dish. They tell these little micro stories about a family's history, an individual's journey.
Like the example of Grandma's specific egg foo young recipe.
Exactly. Shaped by her travels, her experiences. It shows how many subtle stories are packed into the food we eat every day.
And then there's a gender aspect. The sources say food culture is profoundly gendered.
It really is. You see it in traditional roles, who usually cooks. Historically, often women at home, while men might dominate commercial kitchens.
Right. And even in how people eat.
Yeah, consumption patterns too. Ideas about food are deeply tangled up with concepts of femininity, masculinity, how work is divided in families, even how food production is organized.
The historical examples were really telling.
Incredibly. Like white rice in Japan during the war years becoming linked to militarism and later to middle-class identity. Or ramen.
Ramen has a history like that.
Oh, yeah. It evolved from Chinese origins through Japanese innovation, shaped by trade, even colonialism, centuries of exchange and change. And the history of konbu, the seaweed. That's tied directly to colonization dynamics between Japanese and Ainu people.
Wow. It shows food as like a lens, isn't it? A way to see power structures, historical events.
Absolutely. It's not just what's on the plate. It's who put it there, why, and what bigger forces were at play,
And remember sound and touch, too. Like slurping ramen in Japan shows appreciation.
which is totally different from Western etiquette. It's all part of that cultural package.
So given all of this, all these layers, how can we engage with food more meaningfully? Education seems key.
Definitely. The sources highlight education's role in showing the cultural, the personal significance of food, creating space for people to reflect, to share.
And it doesn't have to be stuffy or academic, right?
Not at all. Community programs can be incredibly powerful, especially when they meet people where they are. Use food as this really accessible way to tell stories.
Like that community garden project mentioned.
Yeah, it shows there's so much knowledge and expertise outside of universities and traditional institutions.
It reinforces that idea. Food is way more than just, fuel or refreshment. It's about community.
Mm-hmm. And if you really want to promote diversity and inclusion using food, you have to look at the whole picture. Meaning, how is it prepared? Who is it for? What relationships are being built? Are our actions actually lining up with our values? Food is more than just sustenance. It really is community.
So honoring histories means going beyond just enjoying the taste. It's about learning the stories, the journeys of the communities behind the food.
Recognizing the full context.
Right. And one source made a really important point about sharing meals, especially if you're doing it from, say, a position of institutional privilege.
Yeah, acknowledging your own position, your own history is crucial. Breaking bread together is an excellent means to building strong relationships.
But it's crucial that we come to the table already having done the work needed to be good hosts. That really resonated.
Me too. It's about mindful engagement.
And then, of course, there's travel, probably the most direct way to experience this connection.
Oh, for sure. Actually, being there, eating food in its place of origin, it immerses you completely. Tasting street food somewhere, fresh pasta in Italy, that complex mole in Mexico.
It leaves a mark, doesn't it? Builds a real appreciation for the culture, the people.
Makes that connection tangible, real.
So, wow, we've really dug into this everyday thing, food, and found this whole world inside it, steeped in history, shaped by migration, modernization, intertwined with language, memory.
And revealing these deep parts of our social structures, gender roles, even power dynamics.
It's clearer than ever, food is so much more than fuel. It really is a gateway to culture, a unique way to understand society's past and present.
And maybe even understand ourselves a bit better, too.
So here's a final thought. If food carries all this history, identity, social meaning, what does the food you eat most often say about your culture, your story, your path?
Definitely something powerful to chew on. Maybe next time you sit down for a meal.